What is up, everyone? Superman is so close, I can almost taste it. And everyone has been coming up with their ideas and their pictures for things that they'd like to see in the Superman movie. So what I've got for you today is 5 pictures of not things that we think are going to happen in the Superman movie, but it's what we want to happen in the Superman movie. What's up, everyone? This is Phil from DC Chronicle. I create content for all things DC. Hit like and subscribe, you know what to do. And it's hard to believe the ride that this movie has been. It feels like not that long ago, really, that James Gunn first announced the Gods and Monsters theme and his initial slate. Then we got the casting announcements, David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and everybody else. And now the movie is finally here, which, you know, as long as there's no huge breaking news announcements or anything in the next week or so, the next video on this channel is going to be the Superman movie review, which is incredible to say. I can't believe we're actually here. But for right now, we've got 5 ideas of things that we'd like to see in the Superman movie, and I will preface this by saying, you know, this is just a bit of fun, just some fun ideas for what could happen in this movie. It's not by any means I'm going to be upset or mad if any of these things don't happen in the movie. Just cool things that we'd like to see in the Superman movie. Just a fun little bit of speculation. The last bit of speculation really we can do before the movie comes out. But let's get right into it. So firstly, Ultraman is Bizarro. Now, there's lots of theories about who Ultraman is or who Ultraman could be. Is it just a regular Superman clone? Is it Bizarro? Is it Doomsday? Is it even Henry Cavill as a Superman clone? A lot of discussion about who Ultraman really is. Now, initially I was against Ultraman being revealed to be Bizarro. I feel like what this comics universe kind of is and what James Gunn wants to do is be a lot more comics accurate than the adaptations that we've seen before. So I would always think that any Bizarro adaptation that we would get would be, he'd be from Bizarro world, we'd see that world, and it would all be very comics accurate to the history of Bizarro, and that character would be adapted faithfully to what we've seen in the comics and in animation. However, now we've got pocket dimensions. We know from the trailers pocket dimensions are a thing. I'll get onto pocket dimensions a little bit later, but I now see a way where you could have Bizarro. Perhaps one of these pocket dimensions is Bizarro world, and Bizarro is accessible in that way, considering that we're kind of messing with space and time right away. And, you know, initially Lex could have found a way to control him, so that's how we see Ultraman acting, how he is acting. In the trailers, how he's kind of behaving normally and fighting normally. It could be that Lex hasn't been able to get him under control initially, and then we kind of see it start to break down. I'd love for that control to be broken and Bizarro to be kind of set free, if you like, to just kind of be Bizarro and have him emerge in the movie. And the reason why I like this, again, it's something else I'll touch on later, but what I'm looking for from this adaptation, Superman, is a broader set of villains for him to come up against, rather than, I know Nicholas Hoult is going to be great as Lex, I'm looking forward to Lex in this movie, but Superman has such a great rogues gallery, a really underrated rogues gallery, and so I don't want it to just be Lex again and then maybe General Zod again. I want to see some more of these different Superman villains, and Bizarro would be a great way to kick it off. So yeah, a great pitch would be for me, Ultraman is Bizarro under some kind of Lex control. That control breaks down over the course of the movie. Eventually it breaks completely and we get Bizarro from Bizarro world via pocket dimension as we know him in the comics. Okay, the second idea for this movie is the formation of the Terrifics. Now, this does have me excited, the potential of the Terrifics in the DCU. And the reason why I've included this is we see in the Peacemaker teaser trailer that Max Lord is working with Guy Gardner, and he's working with Hawkgirl, but Mr. Terrific is not there. So what I would like to see happen is during the Superman movie, Mr. Terrific is inspired to break away from Lord Tech and Max Lord and form his own team, along with Metamorpho. We haven't seen too much of Metamorpho so far. We don't really know what his story is going to be beyond him having his son and Lex using that to control him. Hopefully that story is resolved in this movie. Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho can go on and they can form the Terrifics. This would be great because one of the most requested characters I feel for the DCU is Plastic Man. And I feel like this would be a great way, one, to introduce Plastic Man, but also keep Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho as important characters in the DCU. And I really would love to see their characters continue, and I think a great way to do that would be a Terrifics TV series. That'd be really great. So that's something that I'd love to see in the Superman movie. Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, break away from Maxwell Lord and Lord Tech, break away from any control that anyone has over them, and they go on and they form the Terrifics. It could just be, we don't see them form in the movie, we just either have the idea we're going to go ahead and form our own team. You know, maybe I know someone. Just little hints and little teasers would be great to see. And then we can see the Terrifics move on in the DCU. Okay, the third one, maybe a bit controversial. I'd like to see the death of Jonathan Kent. Now, I know there will be pushback on this. People love the Kents and people don't want to see them die, and I understand that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Pruitt Taylor Vince does as Jonathan Kent, alongside Mark Kent as well. With Parr and Mark Kent, with Neither Howell playing Mark Kent as well. I know people love the Kents and they don't want to see them die, and I understand that. For me though, the Kents, his parents dying, particularly Jonathan Kent as like a father figure, that's such an important part of Superman's journey that it's something that does need to be included in the film. And you know, I'm not talking about Jonathan, you know, sacrificing himself to protect Clark or anything like that, although I didn't actually hate that at the time. But for now, what I want to see is a portrayal more like what we saw in Superman 78, Christopher Reeve, and in Smallville as well, where they die of natural causes. I know Smallville, there was timey-wimey, Jor-El influenced stuff, but death by natural causes, and the lesson that teaches Superman that, you know, he can't save everyone and he can't save the people that are closest to him. And I want to see that impact, the impact that has on this Superman, and how that impacts, you know, his actions and his decision making when it comes to being a protector, not just of humanity and not just of Earth, but being a protector of the people that he cares about. So yeah, I know I'm going to get some pushback on this, but an idea for the movie, the death of Jonathan Kent, as a narrative point for Superman and an emotional beat for the movie, is something that I personally would like to see. Now, this next one is super out there. I know it's super out there, but hear me out on this. I would love to see a Black Racer, a Time Wraith, Black Flash, however you want to call it. I'd like to see something like that in this movie. And the reason why I say that is we know we're getting pocket dimensions introduced and we're messing with space and time from the get-go. So I'd love to see a Wraith character introduced, ideally in Black Flash. I know Black Flash traditionally in comics only goes after speedsters, but I think it's important to include this as kind of a narrative tool to kind of nerf the pocket dimensions. Even just like a mention or like a quick glimpse would be great. And yeah, the reason I want this included from a narrative standpoint is I don't want pocket dimensions to become this, oh, everything's explained by a pocket dimension. You know, we saw Black Flash done really well in the Flash TV show and in Legends of Tomorrow as a way of kind of nerfing the Speed Force. I know it became a bit of a meme in the Flash shot. Speed Force means I don't got to explain shit. And I don't want Superman to turn into, or the DCU to turn into, pocket dimensions mean I don't have to explain shit. And I'd love some sort of consequence from messing with space and time. And I love the idea that the Black Flash or a Time Wraith is a consequence of messing with the Speed Force, and you can have a similar thing here. If you're messing with reality in some way, there is a consequence, and the consequence is that you will be hunted by someone. And for me, ideally, that someone would be a Black Racer. So yeah, including some sort of nerf for pocket dimensions is something that I think would be important in the movie. So Black Flash for me included. I know it's out there, but I'd love to. Black Flash, you're messing with space and time. It's time for them to get involved and sort it out. Now next, I do have a bit of an honourable mention, because I was going to include this, but then the trailer has shown that this is in the movie anyway, so I couldn't really include it. But it's Lois already knows Clark's secret. I'm so happy that we're jumping into this movie with Lois and Clark already dating. Lois already knows Clark's secret. And the reason why that is we've seen the cat and mouse before. Will she, won't she find out about Clark's secret? Will they, won't they? And we all know that eventually she will find out. There'll be some drama, but eventually they'll start dating. So I'm quite happy that in this, we're kind of skipping that. And it's not something that I feel like we really need to see in this universe. I love the idea that we're jumping into kind of a fully formed universe with a lot of stuff still going on. And what this means now is we can go straight into those trials and tribulations of their relationship, particularly from kind of Lois's perspective. I'm so excited to see Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane in this movie. I think she's going to steal the whole thing, honestly. But seeing the trials and tribulations of her, not just dating Superman, but dating Clark, because, you know, it's like dating two people. So yeah, I'm happy that Lois already knows Clark's secret. We don't have to go through that whole cat and mouse again. So I was going to include that, but, you know, the trailer has shown she already knows. So that's included as an honourable mention. Super excited to see it. Okay, and the last one, it had to be Brainiac. We need to see Brainiac included in this movie. I mentioned it earlier, but I really need to see more Superman villains, and Brainiac is a great one. You know, we've had Lex so many times, and we've never had Brainiac in movies. I think the only kind of live action Brainiac I can think of is in Krypton. I know Smallville kind of did the Brainiac thing, but that was more like computer systems. We didn't see Brainiac in his kind of comic book form. Krypton we did, and I really love that adaptation, but we really need to see more Superman villains in the movies, and Brainiac is a great place to start. Not just as a villain, but specifically a Superman villain. What I also don't want to see really is Brainiac be this kind of big bad for the Justice League. I have my own thoughts about what kind of villains the Justice League should take on. That's another video for another time. But Brainiac for me should be kept as a Superman villain. And it would be great if this movie does set up some kind of sequel, whether it be at the end of the movie or like a post-credits tease, that Brainiac is going to come and he's going to be a threat for Superman. So I want to see some hint of where they go next with this movie, and something to keep, you know, the fandom hungry and, you know, keep us wanting more and speculate. You know, we love to do that. So introducing Brainiac in this way, a little tease, a little setup for what's to come, would be amazing. And again, I really need to see some of these big hitter Superman villains come out. I've mentioned Bizarro and Brainiac in this video, but there's so much like Mixes Piddleick I'd love to see. Even stuff like Toyman, like I'd love to see Toyman come out. So yeah, top one for me, we need to see the threat of Brainiac established in this movie and established as a villain for Superman to go after in future installments of these kind of standalone Superman movies, assuming that we're going to get a sequel. I know James Gunn said that the sequel won't be a straight up Superman sequel, but I hope that we do get standalone Superman movies throughout this universe, assuming the universe goes on for 10 years, 10 plus years. We'll see more standalone Superman stuff. And so establishing Brainiac as a threat for Superman is something that I would really love to see in this movie. So that's my 5 pictures. What do you think about these ideas? Do you have any ideas of your own that you'd like to see? Drop a comment down below. And if you want more DC talk, check out one of these videos.